The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
Okay, let's go.
We have a pretty corrupt political system in the sense that as a result of a terrible Supreme Court decision, if you're a billionaire and you want to get involved in politics, you can write out a check for hundreds of millions of dollars, put it into a Super PAC. You know what a Super PAC is?
Yeah.
Political Action Committee that can spend money to support your candidates or defeat your candidates. All right? That's not democracy. That's oligarchy.
Happy Friday, December 15th, everybody. All right, before I get into that, I'm going to do this at the beginning of the episode. I have to wish a happy birthday to my mom. My lovely mother turns 29 again today, as she likes to say. But anyway, I did want to wish a happy birthday to my mom. And we all love her. And literally, she practically beats me every day on our Fitbit step challenge. I'm not even kidding. Yesterday, I thought I was going to beat her. I went 16,412. And then at the end of the night, I looked, and she had gone 16,819. Now, what the heck she did, I don't know. I'm seriously going to strap like a some type of camera GPS to my mom without her realizing it and just track where the heck she goes. But anyway, happy birthday to my mom. Also, happy birthday to Michelle Trimmer and Kevin Crociata, two of my very, very close friends from college and the Procter & Gamble days, who share a birthday with my lovely mother. So they get a shout out as well for happy birthday. All right, let's get into it. I've been wanting to do this episode for a while now, and it's going to be a pretty succinct one, but I think it's going to be incredibly informative because there is a concept called PAC and Super PAC, Political Action Committee, and then Super PAC is basically a way to get around the limitations of the PACs, which is kind of crazy. So that was Bernie Sanders that you heard at the beginning of this. And again, you know, I never thought I'd be quoting Bernie Sanders, but you know what? That's how we have to approach things. Like I've talked before, we have to look at what everybody says, take the good, take the bad, and basically form our opinions based on specific situations, not based on the collective. So I want to talk about PACs today and super PACs because they are incredibly important, and we've got the elections coming up, and you know, this needs to be on your radar. You need to understand how the United States political system works. And after 2010, when they created the super PAC, it's a whole different ballgame.
I can explain how this works. Actually, a lot of people probably have heard the word, but may not be familiar with how it works. So super PACs are the cancer in American politics. So the rules of the road are this. Normally, we don't want our politicians to be corrupted, so you can only give $3,300 to a presidential campaign for a primary.
We're independent of the candidate.
Yet, I mean, in Ron DeSantis' case, I mean, let's just get real. The literal campaign bus they travel around on is arranged by the super PAC. The private jets flights that they take are paid for by the super PAC.
All right, that was a quick clip from Vivek Ramaswamy. And again, you know, this is, think what you will about the guy, but I will say this, Vivek takes $0 from super PACs, and that is the complete opposite of Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie right now, who are literally funding, and Trump as well. They all are funding their entire campaign through PACs and super PACs, whereas, you know, Vivek, and then on the Democrat side, you've got people like AOC, Jamal Bowman. Oh my God, I seriously can't even believe I'm advocating for the squad. But you know what? You have to respect it. They're not taking corporate donor super PAC money, because if they did, they're absolutely going to be influenced by those entities. They just are. I mean, come on, think about it. Think about if somebody is giving you just crazy amounts of money and then they ask you to do things, you're going to do them because First of all, you feel like you owe them. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's really as simple. When you think about the concept of super PACs and even PACs, is that it's as simple as, hey, they're giving you a ton of money in the super PAC case. Now, remember, with the PAC, the PACs, the political action committees, they can only raise $3,300 for the initial and then $3,300 in the general election. So really, as an individual, you can only contribute $6,600. You're not going to buy off a politician with $6,600. But if you are a super PAC, the stuff that folks like Mark Zuckerberg have, folks like, I don't know if Musk has one. I don't think he does. Jeff Bezos has one. The big boys are part of the PACs and part of the super PACs. And again, it's their way of then being able to generate influence.
Are these groups a positive or negative force in government? Super PACs, or political action committees, are independent organizations that are allowed to raise unlimited amounts of money from corporations, unions, and individuals in order to support or oppose political candidates or issues. Super PACs must disclose their donors and expenditures to the Federal Election Commission, but they are not allowed to directly coordinate with political campaigns. They can run advertisements, send mailers, and conduct other political activities in support of their chosen candidates or issues. Super PACs have become an increasingly influential force in American politics, particularly since the Supreme Court's 2010 decision in Citizens United v. FEC, which lifted restrictions on independent political spending by corporations and unions.
All right, so a couple things from that. This all really went into a hyperbolic mode in 2010 when the Supreme Court basically lifted restrictions on these super PACs. The reason I wanted to do this episode today and the reason I want to just do this episode in general is, again, I just want this on your radar. As you're watching TV, as you're watching a football game, as you're watching whatever the heck you watch on TV, especially the network TVs, obviously not Netflix and HBO Max and things like that. But as you're watching the network TVs and you see these commercials, I promise you, at the end of these commercials, you're going to start hearing this was brought to you by the so-and-so Super PAC. This was brought to you by the so-and-so America First Committee for blah, blah, blah. But I want you to understand this is how this stuff works. This super PAC donations, this stuff is real, and they're a tremendous influence on what's taking place. A few episodes ago, I talked about how the Koch brothers, COCH, and by the way, one of those guys did die, so it's just one brother left. But, their foundation, which is probably the largest super PAC on the Republican side, they're throwing their endorsement behind Nikki Haley. And so that means something. You'll probably start seeing, more and more advertisements for Nikki Haley. And then at the end, it'll be tagged from their super PAC. There's a very, very large and powerful Jewish super PAC called AIPAC. I'm not going to talk about it today because I'm actually doing more research on it, and I think that's going to get its own episode. But, these guys are tremendously powerful, They're like beyond powerful in terms of lobbying for their candidates, and then more importantly, lobbying against candidates they don't want to win.
You are Jewish. Why is a pro-Israel lobby group using a super PAC and dark money to try and defeat you in a Democratic primary?
I'm not just Jewish, Mehdi. I'm one of two former synagogue presidents in the Congress, along with Senator Jackie Rosen. I've got mezuzot on all my doors. I'm really Jewish, but AIPAC can't stand the idea that I am the clearest, strongest Jewish voice in Congress, standing for a simple proposition that there's no way to have a secure democratic homeland for the Jewish people unless we achieve the political and human rights of the Palestinian people. That's it. Last I checked, that was the policy of every Democratic and Republican administration pre-Trump of this country. But AIPAC's completely gone off the rails, and they are trying to end my career because I won't fall in line with their view of what it means to be pro-Israel.
All right, that's a little snippet of the follow-up that's going to happen with AIPAC. I will tell you something super interesting, and I'm trying to get information on this. So, I talked about this in one of the beginning episodes when we started this Israel-Palestine situation, and it was really talking about Trump and Netanyahu and kind of how they're boys. They like have all these pictures on the internet of bro hugging and fist bumping, and they were boys. But I don't think they are anymore. I really don't. You don't hear much, if anything, of Trump right now, really the past 60 days, coming out and advocating much for this situation. And again, remember, Trump is loved in Israel. I mean, he's been given awards in Israel. He's been recognized by AIPAC, and then by a multitude of other organizations in Israel and in the United States that obviously are part of the Jewish lobby and the contingency here. And they're huge fans of his. But man, it's interesting. I don't see the support from Trump. So I'm trying to get a little more information on that. And I'm trying to see how that affects where AIPAC is netting out in their support of Trump for this upcoming presidential run. So more to come on that.
You're told that there's limits on how much you can give to a campaign. $3,300. That's the limit for this primary to a presidential election. And you can also give $3,300 in the general election. That's a total of $6,600. That's a lot of money to most people in this country. But it's not enough to buy off a politician. And in fact, that's why the limit is set around exactly where it is. The whole purpose was to borrow the legal verbiage on this. It prevents a corrupting influence. That makes sense. Here's the part that doesn't make sense. Those rules actually aren't followed at all in practice, in substance, because this primary is being run by super PACs.
All right, again, I know some of you don't like Vivek, but the guy is the only one that is talking about this. I actually tried to find other clips of anyone on the Democratic and Republican side in Congress or running that talks about this, and nobody is. And you know why? Because they're all taking money from these super PACs. That's where their bread is buttered. And his bread is not buttered there. So, the fact that he's talking about this, again, this is not trying to make you like him or support him. I honestly could care less. But what I'm trying to do is just bring to light the facts of the situation. And he does a really nice job. He did a couple podcasts that I pulled these clips off of, and he does a really nice job in explaining it in a simplistic manner, and that's the goal. So that clip, really laid out how, the concept of PACs, maybe PACs aren't that bad because at the end of the day, it's $6,600 total dollars. But when you talk about a super PAC, which the Supreme Court in 2010 enabled, it's like the gloves are off and there's no limits and there's no brakes to pump anymore.
The hidden influence, how super PACs shape American politics. Unlimited spending. Unlike traditional PACs, super PACs can raise and spend an unlimited amount of money. This can amplify the voice of the wealthy and potentially drown out others. Lack of transparency. Although super PACs are required to disclose their donors, they can receive money from nonprofits that aren't obligated to reveal theirs, making the original source of the funds murky.
All right, so if it wasn't already corrupt enough, the real level of corruption comes right there. So this is what happens. These billionaires and people with agendas form a nonprofit, and then the nonprofit contributes to the super PAC, and then legally, because it's a nonprofit, they don't have to disclose who is part of that nonprofit. Seriously, think about that. And by the way, this is happening. Mega donors now, when it comes to super PACs, are funding super PACs through nonprofits, not the nonprofits that get a lot of attention. These are nonprofits that fly under the radar and that get no media or PR. But then the nonprofit is literally set up specifically in order to then funnel and contribute money into the super PAC. And so that money that goes toward a candidate there's no trail on who's behind it.
Potential for corruption. With so much money flowing through super PACs, there's a heightened risk of quid pro quo arrangements and undue influence on politicians. Distorted political narratives. Super PACs can spend vast amounts on ad campaigns that may spread misleading information or extreme viewpoints, thereby influencing public perception. Sidestepping contribution limits. While individuals have donation limits to candidates' campaigns, they can give unlimited amounts to super PACs, bypassing the spirit of campaign finance laws.
All right. I think that is good. I mean, honestly, more than anything, I wanted to breach this topic. There's going to be more to come on this as we go into the election cycle in 2024. But again, hopefully today was a very solid baseline understanding about PACs and, more importantly, super PACs. I'm really more focused on the super PACs. You know, PACs, because of the contribution limitations of $3,300 and then $6,600 in total on an individual level, and the fact that that applies to even the corporations, I don't think any one entity or group of entities can have major influence and can basically buy politicians. But when it comes to super PACs, that is exactly what absolutely can happen. And again, more than anything, I hope this was a good baseline understanding of super PACs. And as you now hear, ads on the radio, ads on your Spotify, as you see TV commercials, advocating for various, whether it's the presidential election or the upcoming Senate elections or anything, now you can pay attention and you can see who's paying and who's advocating for that. We mixed it up this week, so if you didn't get a chance to listen to the episodes from Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Monday and Tuesday, we really talked about a lot of cool health stuff that I think you could get some value from. And then Thursday, it was really talking about the difference in audiences when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, and seriously how this whole political arena is honestly like Game of Thrones. Anyway, today we're finishing up on super PACs, PACs and super PACs to give you that baseline understanding. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And at the end of the day, when it comes to all this stuff, we're just going to call a spade a spade. You take the information in, decide what makes sense for you, and badia. That's all, folks.
This episode was brought to you by Boost Liquid Vitamins. Wake up, take your Boost, start your day. Drink your vitamins, build your immune system with Boost. Available on Boost.com.